Happy Friday evening, nerds. We are back at my apartment after having seen an awesome show by the Ghost Road Company here in Los Angeles. With me this evening is Len Smith. He is an LA actor who I met working on Modern Myths at the Mirror Theater. So good evening, Len.
Hello.
Hello. Hello there. So a little bit of backstory about how this happened. I decided I needed to see a show in LA, put up on Facebook, hey, gonna see a show, anybody want to see a show? And Len said, I want to see a show.
We saw a show.
And we saw a show.
And it was good.
And it was good. And it was totally different from anything that you've experienced before, right?
Yes.
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 In what way?
It was an art experience. It was, I'm used to seeing shows like The Producers and Little Shop and Spam-A-Lot and things like that. Basically staged cartoons.
Right.
So this was more an art piece. It was a lot of things to think about, a lot of big ideas, and something I hadn't been exposed to before.
Right. Yeah, I think, well, first of all, just a little background, for Len here, he's a cartoonist. He's an illustrator and an animator. So, that love of things like Spam-A-Lot, you mentioned, of course, that's your work. The broad comedy is part of what you do. But, yeah, this play was definitely full of big ideas. It's based on a Nathaniel Hawthorne short story. And in the story, these two twins are born to a woman who was a scientist, a thinker, and she kind of went overboard with it, and her pregnancy became part of her experimentation. Long story short, or short story short, the twins are born, the girl, vibrant, and the brother choked by the umbilical cord and brain dead. And so throughout the piece, she is seeking to give him a soul.
To revive him.
To revive him.
Because you see almost like there's a body in the background.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like paper mache or, but you're led to believe that, well, you figure out eventually that that's the brother.
Right.
But there's an actor on stage playing who that person is.
Right.
What's
inside that mache.
Or what she thinks is inside
right.
that paper mache.
Right.
So is it her projection or is it the brother?
Right.
Well,
they talk a lot about twins, babies who are twins in the womb, and, whether one never fully even develops or whether the child dies. It's the twin remembers, that it wasn't alone in there.
Well, even if there's not that death separation, they're always connected. I mean, strongly connected, they say.
Yeah. Well, my little sisters are twins, and I would definitely say that's true. I mean, they don't get along half the time, but try to stick up for one of them. The one you're sticking up for will turn around and be like, hey, don't yell at my sister, constantly very in sync. And even when they're furious at each other, they want to know how the other one's doing.
Yeah.
So that was definitely, I think, one of those ideas that was explored. You were mentioning that when we got there a little bit late, thanks to my ability to get lost on buses and then Len having to come save me. So we got there a few minutes late. What was your first impression sitting down in the theater? The stage, by the way, was a gray black box kind of situation with very minimal set pieces that all moved and had a very, as you were using the word, monochromatic kind of color and feel to it. Maybe a little steampunk, a little like Cold War industrial. Very indie theater-esque. So, yeah, tell a little bit about that impression.
Sitting down and coming in late.
You're welcome.
It took a few minutes to figure out what was going on. And even because the first people we saw on stage, I think, were the sister and brother. But I didn't know it was sister and brother.
Right.
We didn't know if, they were lovers or that one of them was not even alive.
Right.
You know, so we had some catching up to do. But eventually it all made sense. You know, they did. They didn't leave you hanging anywhere.
Mm-hmm. What would you say were some of your favorite things that this company did? The piece itself is company devised. So they found the short story and they created this beautiful piece around it. What were some of the things that you feel like really stuck out to you, image-wise or text-wise?
Well, we're talking about the paper, eating the paper and eating the words, consuming the words. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of ideas with the soul and God, there's so many ideas that you can't get across here without seeing it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to see it. I mean, it's worth seeing.
It is.
You know, and there's a lot to think about.
Yeah. Well, I think I was so excited to see it and then to have you tell me you hadn't seen something like that before, because it's such an employment of theater magic. There's these moments where just paper, this long stream of paper comes out of a person. You know, that's something cartoonish. You know, that's something you see when, like, Wile E. Coyote's tongue is the receipt on the, you know. But it's there, and it wasn't funny. It was very dramatic. Just this long piece of paper, and then at the very end, we don't see the words, but she reads these words off of it. Or there's a moment where, you know, she cuts herself, and I have never seen in all the theater I've been lucky enough to see blood like that done so realistically. So, like, the brother stabs himself, and then you see her open up, and it was so realistic, just the blood there. And then there was this that other beautiful moment where you've got the mother up. The mother was like a presence, basically, up high in that kind of like scaffolding area, and then you had the brother kind of mid-height, mid-stage, and then the sister down on the floor, and like the mom who's pregnant. It's all kind of like her. She's always represented when they were in the womb. You've got her throwing up kind of like with morning sickness, and then at the same time both Owen the brother and Annie the sister vomiting paper, you know, just paper. It was incredible.
The character that I related to most was the father.
Oh yeah, and a wonderful performance.
Only because, well, not only because, but mainly because they set up the daughter and the mom as geniuses.
Yeah.
And he's kind of trying really hard to relate to them. And he even says, you know, this is too much for me. I can't keep up with you. I can't figure this out. And he becomes kind of a dream squasher, you know, trying to just, can't you just be normal? Can't you just stop this?
Yeah, that moment when he says to Dan, I want her to fit in.
Yeah.
But it was so, I kind of wanted her to fit in too a little bit. Like, her life is so hard because she's so, what is the word she uses? Not demented. What does she say? She says it a couple of times in the play. I'm lost on it right now.
Demented?
Maybe it was, no, it wasn't demented. It was, it'll come to me. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up and there it will be. But yeah, you're right. And he had such a wonderful presence and this really gnarly beard in a ponytail. Some major facial hair. I was like, it's the Amish.
I thought it was fake at first. I thought, where's the hook?
I know. But it was impressive. I think there might have been baby birds living inside. Opened it up. And then, you know, another moment I really loved was when you have the glass blower down there, and he's just moving that pole. He's like got this long stick, like glass blowers do, and he's just moving it. And for a minute, I was going, "What is this guy doing?" But the minute he says, "Don't you know not to sneak up on a glass blower?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what he's doing." You know, and his performance as well. Let's see, who is that? That is Doug Sutherland. Danforth was the character. Doug Sutherland. I was really taken in by him.
It seemed like I had seen him in other things, or he just had that presence that made you feel like you'd seen it before.
Yeah. He had a great, the play, as you can probably imagine from what we're talking about, is very stylized. It's got stylized movement. They employ a bit of modern dance with all that, like, you know, the brother and the sister being one, and there's moments where they move together as one.
They move together, and then the mom is also just, they're all three separated, but just moving together. Mm-hmm. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
But you see the connection between the mother and her children.
Yes.
There. And there's a couple times where she's almost like a puppet master with these two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And all of her, and I think especially her acting was kind of the high point of that stylized form. You know, kind of like she had a certain rhythm to her speech, a certain amount of pause she would take, and kind of a monotone delivery a lot of times. So it had a very kind of...
It made sense for the character.
It did, and it was great. And then you have Doug Sutherland's character come in, and he was so natural, but just so that it didn't devalue what the actors were using in the stylized form.
When you think about it, though, the dad, the sister, the brother, the mom, they're all in their little hell. Mm-hmm. You know, they're living with these. Excuse me. You know, the son died. The sister's going nuts trying to bring him back. The mom is there, but she's dead. Done. She's in spirit. Mm-hmm. The glassblower brings life into it. Mm-hmm. You know, he's really kind of, he's the life of the piece. You know, trying to bring some normalcy. You know, and he says it too, kind of like the dad. I can't keep up with you. I'm too old for this. I can't do this.
Right. But oh man, and when he said that line too, it was like, it was just a really great performance. I feel like I'm not doing it justice trying to talk about it.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You have to see it.
No, and I definitely, you know, theater's to be seen. I love talking about theater and reading about theater, but theater is to be seen. And if you are in Los Angeles, I definitely hope that you will see, let's see if I can get them on here, see this really wonderful company. I'm going to put a link to their work. They tour, so if they're in your area, you should see them. You know, they're a company that they're creating these beautiful pieces. And, you know, we were talking about, like, every company has its aesthetic and its theme. We kind of looked at some of their other work, you know, and it's clear, like, they definitely like to use the monochromatic set. You know, they definitely have a way that they like to bring in prop and bring prop out. And they definitely like to explore a theme of isolation. So, you know, yeah, of course there's those repetitive elements that are going to be in any company and amongst any group of artists who create together. But the fact that this piece was just created by the people that I was seeing on stage was exciting.
Like I said, I mean, this is not usually this wouldn't be my first pick, but it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to see it with me.
Thank you.
And again, if you get a chance, LA Nerds, the Ghost Road Company, The Bargain and the Butterfly, see it, love it, tweet about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing more theater here in Los Angeles. So stay tuned, nerds. Check in, whatever you do on Facebook, and give us a likes all the way around.
True.
4 thumbs up. And see you next time.